We are told from a young age that debt is the ultimate financial trap. And looking at the numbers, it is easy to see why. American consumers are currently drowning under nearly $15 trillion of it. For the average household, this burden comes in the form of credit card balances, auto loans, and student debt. These are obligations that siphon away income month after month, locking people into decades of restrictive payments just to stay afloat. But if you look at the balance sheets of the wealthiest individuals and the largest corporations, you see something entirely different. They do not avoid borrowing, they actively accumulate massive amounts of debt. Why does the exact same financial mechanism ruin the working class, but multiply wealth for the elite? In the machinery of capitalism, other people's money serves as the ultimate fuel. Mastering leverage creates the actual divide between the working class and the global elite. The first way to use leverage doesn't even look like a traditional loan. It happens every day in global commerce through borrowed inventory. Take a common product, like a ballpoint pen. You don't actually need the cash to buy a shipping container full of these pens up front. Overseas manufacturers working around the clock will often front their products to reliable sellers, trusting that they will be paid back once the goods are sold. Today, massive e-commerce networks connect these global factories directly to independent sellers. Distributors can reach customers all over the world without ever stepping foot inside the facility. The distributor simply moves the product at a markup, repays the factory's original invoice, and keeps the margin. By mastering the skill of sales, you eliminate the need for personal capital. The borrowed inventory does the heavy lifting, generating pure profit without tying up a single dollar of your own money. When it comes to personal assets, leverage takes a different form. Real estate investors use a strategy called forcing appreciation to rapidly build wealth. This diagram shows how it works. You find a distressed property for $500,000. You put down 20% to secure a mortgage, and then invest $50,000 in renovations to fix it up. That targeted renovation artificially inflates the property's market value. Because the house is now in great condition and ready to rent, an appraiser values it at $700,000. Next, you head back to the bank for a cash-out refinance. You take out a new 80% mortgage on that updated $700,000 valuation. That gives you $560,000 in cash. You use that to pay off your first mortgage, reimburse yourself for the $50,000 in renovations, and you are left with $110,000 in pure profit. The IRS classifies that extracted $110,000 as a liability rather than income. Because it is a loan, the entire profit remains tax-free. Real estate debt operates as a deliberate tax avoidance mechanism. It transforms borrowed money into liquid wealth, while leaving you with an asset that generates monthly rental income. At the institutional level, leverage becomes much more abstract. Hedge funds borrow assets not to build them up, but to bet on their failure. This is done through shorting a stock. You call a broker, borrow a share of a company that you do not actually own, and immediately sell it on the open market for cash. Imagine you predict a major tech company is about to lose a significant amount of its stock value because a competitor announces a catastrophic change in privacy policies that will destroy their ad tracking. After the announcement hits and the stock price crashes, you use the cash you made earlier to buy the stock back at the new, lower price. You return the borrowed share to your broker, and you keep the difference. The extreme end of this speculation happens in the foreign exchange, or Forex market. Here, investors routinely use leverage ratios of 100 to 1, borrowing massive amounts of capital to place bets on global currencies. These currency values fluctuate based on macroeconomic triggers. When central banks raise interest rates, it limits the supply of a currency like the dollar, making it stronger against other global currencies. Wall Street uses exponential leverage to amplify fractions of a percent in market movement into billions of dollars in profit. It represents the absolute peak of financial risk, but also the highest possible reward. Remember, debt itself is just a tool. Bad debt is capital you borrow to purchase liabilities, things that lose their value over time, like cars or consumer electronics. Good debt is capital strategically borrowed to acquire assets. You use it to buy things that generate cash flow or appreciate in value. Debt possesses no inherent morality. It is simply a mathematical multiplier. It accelerates whichever financial strategy you choose to apply it to. A high credit score acts as a verified track record of reliability. It exists solely to convince banks to provide you with the cheapest possible leverage. The ultimate financial goal is not to live completely debt-free. The goal is to eliminate bad debt entirely, so you can master the mechanics of using other people's money.